So we have all said in roundabout ways, parallel lines never meet, perpendicular lines do. Do you think that maybe since we're in the chapter with slope, that maybe that's something that you can look at? I'm going to go ahead and let you look at that again. Okay. Look at it for a little bit longer. This time I want you to look at the slope. Do you what you would like right now? And you like what's
Oh, that makes sense. No,
It's one slope.
one slope, two first.
Okay. Now that you've had a different conversation, what observations do you have, Amelia? Okay, so these were both positive. Do you think that if I had two parallel lines, could they both be negative?
Yeah.
Okay, over here, one was positive, one was negative. Anything more specific than that?
For the perpendicular lines, they have the same y-intercept. And
Oh, that was just kind of a coincidence. Yeah, but it was a good observation. Okay, let's look at these two parallel lines for a moment. What is the slope of this purple line? Two-thirds. Okay. What's the slope of this red line?
Oh my God. They have the same exact. That's so great.
They have the same slopes. They sure do. Okay. Okay, so Preston says these have opposite slopes. So let's see. This purple line still has a slope of, because it's the same purple line, isn't it? Two-thirds. But what's the slope of the red line?
3/2.
Are you sure?
1.
Negative 3/2. So Preston, are these opposites? Two-thirds and 3/2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so not only is there an opposite, but it also, what'd you say? It also flips. What do we call that when a fraction flips? Ah, yes. Okay. At this point, this is where we're going to turn into our student journals.
108.
Page 108. Parallel lines have the same slope. Yeah, you write that down.
Wow.
I will keep looking through your quiz. I've looked through all the drawers that I can find. Okay, and what did we say about perpendicular lines? What kind of slopes did we? Okay, opposite reciprocal slopes. This is the foundation for everything we do today and tomorrow. Yes, I have graded your quizzes. Yes, you will get them back. End of the class period. we are halfway through the chapter. Our chapter test is looking like Wednesday of next week. Okay. So, let's go to the next page. And I want you to look at this extra practice number 1. Okay. I would like you to identify the slope for line A, the slope for line B, and the slope for line C using the graph. So just count. Okay. Okay. Nirvan, what's the slope of A?
3.
Nirvan said 3. Do you agree with that? He seems a little unsure. Okay. Okay. Colin. Okay, line B has a slope of 4. Do you agree with that? Up 4/1. Okay. And then our blue, we go from one point to the other. Peyton, what's that slope? Peyton F.
4.
Peyton asked, is it 4?
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We go up 4/1. Okay, up 4/1, up 3/1. Okay, so Gavin, do we have any lines that are parallel? So line B is parallel to line C. Okay. Maddie, why does Gavin say that line B and line C are parallel? Okay. You have a question about those parallel lines? Peyton. Well, he's not parallel to the other two, so he's there, but he's not special. Well, when you say it like that.
Well, he's special that he doesn't share with someone.
Okay. All right. Let's go to number 10. So turn the page and go to number 10. And I want you to find those 3 slopes and make any observations there. Find those 3 slopes and make any observations. Estelle, what is the slope for line A?
3.
Thank you, Estelle, for taking the 6/2 and simplifying it to 3. Not everybody did that on their quiz yesterday. That will be a point of conversation. But if it is a fraction that you can simplify, simplify. Okay. Let's see. Anna, what is the slope for line B? Is what?
1/3.
So 2/6, which simplifies to 1/3. Anna, do you agree that it's negative? Because it's going down. Slope, dude, is skiing down. Okay. All right. And then line C. Andrew, what's our slope for line C? 5/2. Okay. Gus, do we have any lines that are parallel? Why not? Okay, our slopes are not the same. Amelia, do we have lines that are perpendicular? Yes, which ones? Line A is perpendicular to line B. Colin, why?
It's because, if you flipped, -1/3, around, it'll be, -3/1, which is basically 3, if you just, make it go in the same way.
Okay, 3 and -1/3 are opposite reciprocals. Okay, I'm gonna abbreviate because I don't have room. But if we flip 1/3, we get 3/1. So these are opposite and they're reciprocals if we think of this as being 3/1. Okay, it's technically 3/1, we just don't write it as such. All right. All right. We're gonna kind of like flip back and forth between these 2 pages. So just be cool. Okay, be cool. All right, let's go to this example number 3. Okay. Now I don't have a graph, I just have coordinates. We still want to know if these slopes, if these lines are parallel or perpendicular. Okay, so what do we need to do? How about you do that for me? How about if you are in table purple or green, find the slope of line A. We're gonna do some teamwork today. Blue and red, find the slope of line B. Yellow and teal, slope of line C. Ready, set, go. Remember, you're B. Y minus Y over X minus X. Line B. And number 3. Y minus Y over X minus X. Guess what? You and everyone at your table should be getting the same slope. So double check that you and the people at your table are getting the same slope.
Finding Y over Y.
Oh,
No, I didn't do that. I know.
No.
Where's your $40?
In what?
Minus three.
I don't know, okay, where did it go?
What? No, it
All right. It sounds like you're done finding slope and comparing it to your neighbors. Kane, what did you get for line A slope? Purple, do you agree? Negative or positive? So if we take 2 minus -1 over 2 minus -4, we would get 3/6. Okay. Looks like 1/2 to me. Okay. Sophia, did you have a question about that? Okay. Line B. Preston, what'd you get? 2/5?
Yeah.
Okay. And then green looks good. Aiden, what'd you get for line C? 2? So what you got? 1/2. Okay, so let's take y minus y, so -1 minus -3 over x minus x, 2 minus -2. Okay, make sure it's the y's on top, okay? So we have 1/2. Okay, so here are our slopes. Please make sure, I know you only calculated one of them, but please write down the other 2 slopes, okay? This is line A, this is line B, and this is line C. Okay. Do we have any lines that are perpendicular?
Yes.
We do?
No.
Okay. If I had a slope perpendicular, if I had a line perpendicular to B, Colin, what would the slope equal?
Perpendicular B would be -5/2.
Do you agree with that? -5/2 would be the slope perpendicular to this line. Okay, we don't have that. We also don't have a slope perpendicular to this line. Kane, what would be the slope perpendicular to 1/2? Yeah, and okay, so and we don't have that either. But we do have 2 lines that Peyton says are parallel. Abby, which 2 lines are parallel? Line A and line C are parallel because they have the same slope. It's so exciting. I can tell that you're enthused. Okay.
Wow.
All right. We're gonna jump to number 6. Okay. Oh man, number 6. If I need to know what my slopes are, oh, somebody there. If I need to know what my slopes are, how the heck do I get them? Talk to your neighbor about it. I need to know the slopes of my lines. I don't know them.
Oh, yeah, you're
All right, eyes up here. Eyes up here. If we have the equation of a line, how do we pick out its slope? Colin?
Y equals MX.
Oh, it's like there's like this way for us to find slope. If we have an equation, y equals mx plus b. Do any of my lines look like that?
No.
Yes. B.
B is close,
Yeah.
but it's not there yet.
Yes, but it's
Okay.
closest.
It is the closest. Okay, so let's first take line A. Okay, line A is 5y minus x equals 4. And if I need the slope, I need this to look like y equals mx plus b. So we need to solve for y. Flashback to chapter 1. Literal equations. Here we are. Okay. How do I get y by itself? What do I need to do first? Sophia. We need to add the x to both sides. Okay. So we have 5y equals, I'm gonna write it as x plus 4 because I know I want it to look like y equals mx plus b. It does. It sure does. Okay. Peyton, what's our next step?
We have to divide the 5 from the y.
We need to divide both sides by 5. Okay. So I don't want you to write it as x plus 4 over 5. Say, what's x divided by 5? 1/5 x plus 4 divided by 5, which is 4/5. Okay. Okay, Carter, what's the slope of this line? Yeah, so our slope is 1/5. All that work just to figure out the gosh darn slope. That's fine. Let's come over here to line B. Line B is 5y equals x plus 7. Well, I sure do appreciate that x is over here. We really only have to do one thing, don't we?
Divide.
Okay, we need to divide both sides by 5. Y equals, we have x divided by 5, 1/5 x, plus 7 divided by 5. Jeff, what's the slope of this line? Where are you getting the 8? Remember, this is in y equals mx plus b. Which one means slope? You think? Okay, so we have m and we have b. What does m stand for? Ah, what's our slope? 1/5. There we go. Okay. I would like you and your elbow partner to take line C and put line C in slope intercept form for me, please. What? You can come here next to Aiden. Hey, Gus, we're not yelling across the room right now. We're focusing on line C. Do you have a question? Okay.
How about 5 be just 2/5 x?
That's how I would write it, yeah.
So is this right?
One.
All right, eyes up here. Abby. Okay, Abby, what did you get?
I got y equals 2/5 x plus 1.
Okay. In order to get y equals 2/5 x plus 1, Avery, what did she do first?
So first you make the equation into 5y equals 2x plus 5.
Okay, so you added 2x to both sides?
Yes.
Okay, so we add 2x to both sides, so we have 5y equals 2x plus 5. Okay, then our next step is what, Peyton? W? Divided by 5. Okay, so these cancel out. 2x divided by 5, let's write that as 2/5 x. And then 5 divided by 5 is 1. Okay, well, what's our slope for this line then? 2/5. Okay, so now let's make a decision. Do we have any lines that are perpendicular? Okay, so let's think about it. A line perpendicular to this guy would have a slope of -5/1. A line perpendicular to this guy would have a slope of -5/2. So no perpendicular, but line A is parallel to line B because they both have a slope of 1/5. Okay. This is where it gets really exciting.
The
Okay.
exercise is 7.
Is it our homework for tonight?
No.
Let's talk about exercise 7. Okay. You have shown me that some of you know how to write the equation of a line given a slope and a point. Some of you still need some practice. Well, you know what? Let me give you some more practice. I would love to help you out. Okay. Here I have, write an equation of a line that is parallel to this line and it goes through this point. Okay, well, let's dissect that. If it is parallel to this line, what does that mean about our slope? It's going to be the same thing. What is the slope of this line? Okay, so here we have our slope. And here we have a point. We need to write the equation of the line that passes through that point and has a slope of 1/3. Okay, now, because I know that some of us like to have options, I'm going to show you a second way that you can write the equation of a line when you have a point and slope. Okay, so here's method number 1. This is what you did on the quiz. You have point slope form where we can punch in our coordinate and our slope. Okay, now what? Now I can distribute that 1/3. Y plus 1 is 1/3 x. What is 1/3 times -3? Okay. And then what do we do? Okay, then let's subtract 1 from both sides. So we get y equals 1/3 x minus 2. It's amazing. Some of you are watching me do this and not write it down because you think you know what you're doing. But when I hand back your quiz in about 10 minutes, not all of you actually know what you're doing. So writing things down would be a really good idea. Okay. Now, what do we call this right here? This is point slope form. Now, I'm asking you for your answer in slope intercept form. So maybe you really don't like point slope form. Let me give you another option. Okay, so here's way number 2. We know we want our answer as y equals mx plus b, right? So what we can do is we can say, all right, I know my slope is 1/3, and I know it goes through the point, x is 3, y is -1. How about I put that into my equation and I solve for what my plus b is? Okay, well, what's 1/3 times 3? So I have -1 equals 1 plus b. So what's b? Oh, so y equals mx plus b. I know my slope is 1/3. I know my B is -2. Your mind blown.
Yeah.
You're confused about how I started out on it. I wrote y equals mx plus b. And I knew that my slope was 1/3. And I said, well, I have a point that's on the line. So I'm gonna plug in that point, 3, -1 for xy. From there, I solved for b. So I can take my slope and my b and write y equals mx plus b.
Nice.
Okay,
So does that 3 that you have in parentheses go in for the x basically?
yep. Yep. So how about we turn to the next page and we do one with a perpendicular line. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do, I want you to go down to number 15 on that next page. And I want you to identify what our perpendicular slope needs to be. Identify what our perpendicular slope needs to be. Okay, if this line has a slope of 2/3, then Preston, our line perpendicular is gonna have a slope of what? Okay, opposite, reciprocal. So here's our slope and here's our point. Okay. Does anybody have a question about why we have -3/2 for our slope? Okay, so let's talk about the two ways now that we have to write a line. It is totally fine if you want to use point slope form, like we did on our quiz, where we put in 2 for y, our slope is -3/2, and our x is -2, so x minus -2. Okay, this way just takes a little bit more algebra. Okay. So we're gonna distribute our -3/2 through. And then we can add that 2 to both sides. So y equals -3/2 x minus 1. Or if you want less algebra, y equals mx plus b. We've identified our slope is -3/2. We know that our x is -2, our y is 2. So let's solve for b. Help me out. What is -3/2 times -2? Try that again. How about +3? Yeah. And when I subtract that 3 from both sides, we get, oh, b is -1. So y equals mx plus b. Did I get the same answer?
Yes.
Wow. I'm giving you some choices, people. I'm giving you the choice of which method you would prefer to use when you have a point and you have slope.